Hey there, everybody. This is Dr. Ogres, and welcome to episode 29 of my Let's Play EVE Online. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. Now, I am continuing the standings grind, yay, but instead of just kind of running through that stuff, I thought what we would do today is I would take some of the questions that I've gotten from you guys recently and kind of answer them while in the background I work on these missions to kind of work up my standings. So that's the exciting bit that we're doing today. Now, the general gist of what am I doing in here? First off, avenge fallen comrade, blow stuff up. Destroy the habitat. Okay. I don't think that was it. Was it? No, it's a shipyard. Anyway, where was I? Yes. So I'm just going to kind of go through some general questions that I've received from you guys and just try to answer them while I do this. I get distracted pretty easily, but we're going to try it anyway. So the first thing is a question, and actually I just got asked this in chat. What am I doing? I'm not looting. I just got this asked in the Tasty Beverage Pub. Yeah, that's a good point. Hidden Loot has mentioned I need to get my social skills and all that stuff for getting my standings up faster, and I do. Maybe I'll just make a detour at some point today and go get those skills into the hopper. I did get my initial small specialization skills started so that I can actually start getting T2 guns going. Pretty excited about that. I also added rapid fire and did some work on some of the other support skills for gunnery. So that's pretty nice. But anyway, so the number one question that I kind of keep getting is, am I doing another noob swarm? And I think I'm probably going to do it. I haven't set up a time or a date or anything like that when that will actually happen, but it's definitely something I want to do. It was a whole lot of fun last time, so I'm going to be kind of focused on that to make sure that I can get what I want to do done. I just need to figure out when I'm actually going to have the time to lead a roam, and I'm probably thinking this time. Last time I pretty much last minute decided, yeah, okay, let's go to Providence because I just knew the systems there pretty well. But this time I think what we'll do is I'll figure out where we're going ahead of time, and I'll do some scouting ahead just to make sure that we find ourselves in a target-rich environment, so to speak. That's the goal anyway. Also, I do have some other thoughts for fleets that I would like to do, but I kind of need to figure out. I need to figure out where. There it is. Whether or not those are viable, and whether or not there's enough interest in them. The mining frigate disco is something I'm definitely interested in, and that's where we all get out in mining frigates and use those for PvP combat, which would be hilarious to me. Gonna run out of cap. But again, that's sort of I don't know if that's something that's interesting to everybody, but just seeing a fleet of Navitas's would be just hilarious. And the second one was a remote hull repping battleship fleet, but that's kind of skill and ISK intensive, so I'm not 100% sure if that's a viable choice at this point in time, because I want to make sure that everybody who wants to participate in a fleet can. So there's that. So that's the kind of the big question that kind of gets asked a lot. The other one, and this is kind of a longer question, sort of a tutorial thing that I can go over with you guys. People ask if I'm trying to remember the keyboard shortcuts for getting the drones back into the drone bay. There we go. The question generally boils down to this. I want to start a corporation. How do I get people in it with me? Specifically, I've had people say that they started a corp, but they can't really get the membership levels that they want, and they wind up flying by themselves anyway. And so I thought I would kind of go over my general philosophy for not only setting up a corporation, but making sure that it's successful and that it grows. Because it's nothing more frustrating than starting a corporation just to have it not go anywhere. So, what I would say here is, before you even push the button to kind of build the corporation, before you go to that interface and say create corp, there's a few things that you need to have in place just so that you can make sure that you're not going to wind up flying by yourself. All right, and I think that a lot of people, in their eagerness to be running a corporation and doing stuff, completely skip a lot of this stuff, and it just leads to the detriment of growing a corporation. So this is my personal preference. I mean, other people might do it other ways, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think that it's a pretty easy way to kind of get things rolling in a general sense. So yeah, number one, before you start a corporation, you need to have a small group of people already wanting to be in a corporation together. I can't really stress this enough. And I would say you need to have at least yourself and 3 or 4 other people that are going to be the core group of your corporation, that are going to be the people that are always there leading operations, recruiting new members, and being active. If you don't have that, you've got an uphill battle to begin with, because you're going to be trying to get people into the corporation that don't know each other and don't fly with each other. And then you're going to be trying to get them to break their own personal habits to do stuff together. So that becomes a real big challenge just in general. So in my opinion, you need to have 4 or 5 people that already want to be flying together and already do fly together. Maybe you meet them in your newbie starting corp. Maybe you meet them in your current corporation and you decide, let's try our own thing. Maybe you meet them in, I don't know, online forums somewhere. But that's kind of one of those things that you need to be able to have in place. Video about it. Okay, so you got your four people or so that are 4 or 5 people that you're going to form your corp around. These guys are your officers of sorts, and one of you is going to wind up being the leader, and I presume it's the one that's interested in just starting up the corporation anyway. It's kind of important that everybody agrees on that, who's going to be the CEO and what that means. It doesn't have to be anything serious, but you have to determine that, and a lot of that kind of is determined by the style of corp you want to run. So that's just one of those things just to have kind of running in the back of your mind all the time. You got your group of core people. You're getting ready to form the corporation, but before you do it, you need to have a few things in place outside of Eve. And this is another one of those things that nobody really thinks about. You need to be able to have... All right. You need to be able to have a way to communicate in and outside a game. You need to have a couple of them. And my general thoughts on this are, you need to have some form of out-of-game voice comms. Whether that be Vent, TeamSpeak, what's the other one? Mumble, or hell, just being available on Skype, or however you guys want to do it. I'm a big fan of having Vent and TeamSpeak because it allows you to really kind of delineate roles in there, so that you have a room for everybody to just kind of hang around and chat in, and you got a room for people to just, when it's an operation and you need discipline on the comms. Anyway, so you need to have that in place, because eVoice is really, it's a great tool, but it's really only available and useful in game. If you're not if you're not in game, there's no way to get a hold of you if you're not in voice. In just encouraging people to, even when they're not in game, to just talk is super important. It builds community, it builds the corporate structure so that you can rely on people to jump into game when they hear other people are doing stuff. And it's one of those things that you're going to kind of want to have a culture building on. Number two, I do recommend having forums of some sort and or a wiki, and just so that people can, again, out of game communication, and a way for you to kind of disseminate the corp goals and what's going on. Speaking of corporation goals, a corporation should really have what I consider to be what I would say is a mission statement. The mission statement for the corporation should be like about a sentence long and easily explained to somebody. So, and I usually put it in the terms of, we are a blank corporation that blanks. And so that could be, we are a PvP corporation that roams low sec. We are Pirate Corp, whatever. However you guys want to define what you're doing, just so that when you're recruiting people and you're trying to explain what it is you're going to be doing and what kind of pilots you want, you have a clear and straightforward answer to that question. You have your mission statement. Then it's time to determine, well, what is it you do? What are your goals? That's kind of a longer form answer to the same question, but it also has specifics in it. It's like, well, we want to be a wormhole corp. We want to hold space in wormholes and do Tech 3 invention and all that good stuff. We want to be a high-sec mission running corp. We want to be a null-sec alliance. We want to get into a null-sec alliance and hold space. And however you want to do it is fine, but you kind of need to determine what your goals are. And I would say for probably the first year, you're going to want to be able to do that. It's really helpful to be able to tell people, yeah, this is what we're doing, and especially when you're talking about a bunch of new members. And hopefully in your first year you've gained a bunch of new members. Okay, so you have your overall structure, you have your communication tools, you have a mission statement, you have some goals for your corporation and things you plan on doing. Kind of the next big thing is, at that point, it's probably time to start recruiting. You go to the EVE Online forums, you find the corporation and alliance recruitment thread, you make a post in it, the subforum, and you make a thread in it. You bump that post once a day. That's the rules. You're allowed to bump once a day. And I would say do it right before you're in game. That post needs to have some basic information in it. It should have your mission statement. It should have your what you offer as a corporation, whether that's free ships or if it's just fun or whatever. You need to make yourself sound appealing, because if you look in that forum, there are a million posts or a million threads for corporations looking for pilots, and it moves fast. I mean, you'll be off the first page in a matter of 20, 30 minutes maybe, depending on time of day. So having that stuff clear and concise and upfront will help your case. You need to have how to contact you and who to contact listed in the forum thread, and also what you are going to require from your pilots, whether that's amounts of activity, whether that's a certain style of play, whether it's you're making restrictions on anything. You need to make that stuff clear up front. So that's kind of your front running form of recruitment. I personally, for my main corp, I've passed it off to somebody who does recruiting for me for our corp, because I really dislike recruiting. It's my least favorite thing to do in all of EVE, including including standing grinds. So since it's my least favorite thing, I have somebody else do it. But they bump it and then they log into the game. So they're in our public channel at all times when that post is on the first few pages of the forum. So people come to our public chat and they can find the recruiter immediately. That's super, super important. Also, I would say that when you have your public channel, you need to make sure that all your active players are in that channel. You want to make it look as active as possible, because people are judging you. People are judging you, and that's how they determine, is this going to be a good group of people to join. Mostly when people are looking for a corporation, they're just looking for something to do. When you're looking for people to put into your corporation, you're looking for people to help do stuff with you, but also for a fit in terms of personality and goals, which again, this leads us right into our next thing. Before you just say, sure, yeah, come on, be in our corp, I highly recommend that you have some form of interview process. And for us, in my main corp, we do a formal interview. We have a specific series of questions. We do it in a private chat, and then everybody in the corp, we take the log of that chat, we post it to our forums, which is another great use for the forums, and everybody in the corporation has a chance to read through it and put their input as to whether or not this person will be a good fit. And the questions we ask are specifically designed to see what kind of personality they have and see their maturity level, all that good stuff. That's super, super important. You need to be able to see, is this person will be a good fit in your corporation. And I think that's the interview is probably one of the best ways to make a good judgment. The kind of questions you ask will depend on what you want to do, but you should cover questions about any requirements you have for your pilots, like skill point level, ships they like to fly, their personal goals in EVE is a super, super important question to ask. You need to ask them that. Otherwise, how will you know if... Sometimes I just don't have the right ships. These must be Kaldari rats of some sort. There. If you don't have questions about what their goals are, how will you know that they're in it for the long run? And honestly, that's kind of one of the big things. You need to make sure that the pilots you recruit are there more than just a week or a day or whatever. They need to be engaged in the corporation and there for the long haul. If you don't get that kind of member, a corp member, then you're really fighting a downhill battle. It's just super difficult to maintain any kind of real momentum in terms of recruitment if you don't have people that stick around. If you're constantly turning over membership, you've got a problem. It's probably something you need to figure out and fix. So we use our interviewing process to make sure that everybody's goals kind of align with where the corporation is going. And that's our big thing, is we want to make sure that everybody gets along and that everybody is pulling in the same direction. So yeah. Next, I would say, once you've done that and you've determined whether or not they're going to be a decent fit, you still need to set up a trial period. And you need to make it clear that, hey, this is a trial period. We want to make sure that you're going to fit in with everybody. During the trial period, I highly recommend requiring that you have access to their API key. It's not something that I think it's not unusual to ask for. They shouldn't balk at it. If they do, to me, that's a warning sign. Because what you're trying to do is trying to protect yourself from corp theft. And it's not fail-safe or foolproof, but you need to be able to see all of the characters on the account. You need to be able to see their employment history. You need to be able to see their wallet. And ideally, I also like to look at their skills. because and it's also a way to kind of verify things that they said during the interview, and to ensure that they're actually going towards what you're wanting them to go towards. If you're a PvP corp and the guy's got 1 billion points in mining, it's like he can fly an orca perfectly. What good's that going to do you, right? Now, if they said that in their interview and they said, I'm trying to get into PvP from mining, yada, 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 that's fine. But you can also check up on their skill training to make sure that they're not training more mining skills or whatever. So yeah, that's I think a pretty important part of it, is to just make sure that you have that information, and that that's weird. That you have that information, and that it all matches what they said in their interview, and that it makes sense for what you're doing as a corporation. So that's my kind of big things when you're in terms of finding members. And then beyond that, it should start to grow relatively organically. What I would say also is, do not spam in local, hey, we're recruiting. Do not go to a noob system and mail every person in the system an in-game mail. Honestly, there was a time when I think that worked, because I personally have done it and got some decent pilots out of it. But those days are past. That was years ago. The forum is really kind of the best way to get people to recognize that your corp is recruiting, and to kind of indicate, to get them interested in joining. The in-game mails, not so much. Feel free to, of course, mail people who you see in space and you maybe encounter, or invite them to your channel. But I would say always make sure that the interview process holds, regardless of what they're doing or how they're doing it. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that whole thing. So yeah, and then once people are in your corp, hold them to the standards that you say you're going to hold them to. And I would say be very transparent about the direction of the corp and what's going on at all times. Don't have backroom deals with the CEO and other corporations, and don't give the impression that there's a group of elite members of the corporation and everybody else is just there to funnel money into the corp wallet. You have to be really open and honest with your corp members to say, this is what we're doing and this is where we're going, and you have a say in whether or not that's what you want to do, but ultimately this is what we want to do as a corporation. So I hope that answers some questions. And it's just the way I like to do things, but you may find you have something else that you prefer. Okay, well, it's been 24 minutes here. And as you can see, I'm still running some relatively low-level missions. I'm just doing this to get myself into a storyline mission, to get another quick bump for Galente so that I can grab the next round of Cosmos mission agents, because my standings aren't high enough. And then somebody did mention it in the Tasty Beverage Web that yes, I do need to get my social skills trained. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that too. After that, I'm going to continue this grind. Yay. And then once I'm finished with the grinding and I have my Infomorph Psychology skill trained and some jump clones installed, then I'm going to go out on a PvP roam. I don't know when that's going to be exactly, but I'm going to grab myself a ship and I'm going to go out and I'm just going to blow something up, because I've got to do it. It has to be done. It must be done. So that's the plan for now. So unless something really, really exciting happens, that's where I'm going to cut it for today. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support. And I will see you soon. And like I said, I will be putting together another Noob Swarm. I will set up a video to let you guys know when that's going to happen. And I will make sure that it's far enough in advance that there's enough time for everybody to make arrangements to be there if they want to be there. It'll definitely be in an early day, depending on one of my days off, so could be anytime. My schedule shifts around a lot. But once I know for sure, I will let you guys know, and we will get a noob swarm together. And then, like I said, let me know what you think about those other fleet types. The mining frigate, I think, is the easiest one to put together in terms of player skill. But I think that both of them could be a lot of fun. The concept of remote hull repping battleship in a gang just tickles me to no end. I would just love to do that. I personally, Doctor, would have to train skills to make that happen, but I think it would be hilarious. Let me know what you guys think, and if there's enough interest in that kind of stuff, then definitely we can do something about it. So, all right, I'm gonna try to wrap this here for now. It's a short video this week, but I figure better than nothing. And I'm gonna continue the grinding, and then hopefully something interesting in the next one. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will talk to you soon.